Step into Yellowstone with me, a place where mountains breathe, rivers carve their stories into the land, and one surprising comeback changed everything. In this project, I'm diving into the incredible journey of how wolves return and how a single species manages to reshape an entire ecosystem. Starting with the before side of Yellowstone, you can see that the trees look thin and the grass is short and padded down and yellow. This happened because the elk were overgrazing the area. After wolves left, the elk behavior changed. They immediately became less nervous and scared of being by the water. They just walked around because they have no fear of being attacked and hunted. But also, the elk made up around 75% of the wolves' diet, and without wolves, coyotes can't control their numbers just like other predators also can. This caused the elk population to skyrocket from around 2,000 to 4,000 all the way up to 18,000 to 19,000 elk in Yellowstone Park. Now let's talk about wolves. Before reintroduction, the wolves were completely absent from Yellowstone, so let's go over the after side. On this side, you can see the grass is greener and growing taller than on the before side, and you can see the wolves are here by the riverbank drinking right now on the other side of the beaver dam on the lower level. But you can also see that the trees are much thicker, healthier, and a lot taller on this side. The wolves keep the elk scared because the wolves keep the elk scared because the wolves mostly eat elk, which builds up hunting pressure in areas like riverbanks and plains. Now let's talk about some of the direct effects. Some of the direct effects of wolves being back are less elk, beavers can build a lot more dams, willows and aspen can grow thicker and taller, and fish have more water area and habitat space. The wolves being back and affecting the elk wouldn't seem like a very big deal, but the population went from around 19,000 elk to 4,000 to 5,000 elk, which affected the park a lot, leaving space for grass, willows, and aspen to grow, and also letting beavers have more peace on the rivers and streams. But the beavers, being able to make more dams, made new waterways for fish, algae, and frogs. Having these new waterways made it so animals and amphibians can spread out and have more space, but also made it so willows can grow on the riverbanks, giving homes to small fry, which are just baby fish, frogs, and more amphibians. But some of the indirect effects are the amphibian life, fish life, dirt, and water levels. The wolves don't directly affect these groups, but they can affect them through the direct groups that we went over that are directly affect these groups. Waterways are affected by beavers and even trees. They are affected because once dams are built on the water level rises and naturally makes different waterways and spreads amphibian life all across the rivers and streams. The streams also got narrower and deeper, which is a great thing because the water doesn't get to a higher temperature, so more species of fish can stay in there and be cool. The amphibians were greatly affected by the increase in water space and shade provided by willows, because now they also won't be very hot, so they can stay cool. But now to one that wasn't as expected to be affected, the dirt. The dirt was very much affected by the change in water because after the water levels rose in some spots and made new rivers and The dirt had more nutrients and water for the plants and trees. This helped the willow tree roots grow larger and stronger than before, which helped to stabilize the riverbanks and grow more grass. But now we can talk about the plants and the fish. After wolves returned, the entire river ecosystem began to change. Shrubs along rivers, streams, and ponds grew up to 6 times denser than before, due to the wolves stopping the elk from lingering around riverbanks. As these plants grew back, they dropped leaves, branches, and organic matter into the water. All of this acted like a natural fertilizer, adding nutrients that fed insects, fish, and tiny fry. Rivers also got deeper due to less erosion of the riverbanks, which led to more advanced and diverse underwater ecosystems for fish and underwater plants, like algae and grass. This leads to extra spawning grounds for amphibians and fish. The fish and frogs need the grass and algae to hide the fry and tadpoles, or else they will be eaten by fish like trout and bluegill. Now we can talk about how this impacted humans. This impacts humans, not just the park, because after wolves were added back, after a while they started to stray off from the park grounds and onto ranches, where they will eat cattle and other livestock that ranchers breed and grow. This forces ranchers to choose between scaring wolves away or killing them to protect their livestock. Because each cow can be up to 10 grand and even more, the wolves kill around 18 cows. That's $180,000. This can be a deciding factor on if they meet their goals or even if they go bankrupt, because once the park was rewilding, this brought a lot of attention to the park, so more people came and the park was made more money if they showed people the wolves. This project reviews how elk numbers shifted before and after the return of wolves. It goes on to describe the effects of wolves had on the plants and animals, and then expands into how these changes influence ranchers, tourists, and Native Americans. But overall, I hope this project helped you understand how the return of wolves transformed Yellowstone. Their reintroduction didn't just change one species, it reshaped the entire ecosystem, from elk behavior to plant growth, from beavers to fish and amphibians. So many animals were positively affected and able to recover from near extinction. That is it. Goodbye.